There's a cemetery located at the intersection of Vienna and Hammond Street here in Abbeville, 2 blocks from the square. And it was like, if you didn't know it was there, if originally, initially, then you would not think it was a cemetery. And one day we noticed it in another organization out there, and I had talked about it, and then another chairman came on this organization talking about it. I said, well, let's do something about it. It looks like a black slave cemetery. It's in the middle of the city, so what are we going to do about it? Those people deserve dignity as well as other folk deserve the dignity. Everybody deserves dignity in death. These people walked this place just like you and I are walking now. In 2014, former Mayor Sarah Sherwood and myself, we put together a plan, initiated a plan, and she was all involved with it just as much as I, to get this place cleaned up. And I said, look, Martin Luther King's birthday is coming up, so why don't we use his holiday as a day on as opposed to a day off? We had people coming in from everywhere. Didn't know how it was going to work out, put the announcements out, asked people to come, made the phone calls. The city was there doing their thing, contact churches to bring food for the people who were working. Had about 8 food stations lined up on Hammond Street. It was a tremendous organized feat that we did that day. I say we had maybe 200 people, 200 to 250 people from all walks of life.
This is a huge graveyard here. And all these sinking holes, they are graves. A lot of them don't have markers. One of the things that was a lot of the black churches back in the 1800s, mid-1800s, they started out under a brush harbor, under trees, out in the forest, and they didn't have graveyards. So what they would do, they would go to a spot designated to bury people. And this was one of the designated spots given to slaves to bury the slaves in. And this way they would come and be buried. So a lot of the areas that we look at across here and see, if there's just a little sinkhole, that's a grave. That would be a grave. And a lot of them was marked, as we can see, and a lot of them wasn't marked. So this is one of the things that we are trying to do now, trying to identify a lot of the unmarked graves, because there are records somewhere about some of the people that buried out here, and some of the people that have information on these here, they can pass it on to us. Also, you have to remember now, most of these graves, they were back in the 1800s. We have them, I found one that could date back to 1837 and 1850s, 1840s. All of those, over the years, they're sinking in, and a lot of the stones have sunken underground. But there's still a lot still standing.
One of the main spots down here, one grave sites, is that of Dennis Jackson. Dennis was a slave during the Confederate war between the states. And when his master went off to war, Dennis went along with him. Now that happened a lot of times, as I've come to know. But he stayed there with him, and when the war was over, came back home with his master, went back to work with him for a while. And the way Jean captured that was that I found out about it. She was going through old papers, and she came across a petition with his name on it for a pension. He had filed for a pension from the war. And she walked in and found the gravesite and got in touch with the American Legion post down there, as well as our local Veteran Affairs officer. And she said, well, bring the paperwork here and we'll put in for a tombstone. It didn't have a tombstone though. I did have one, but get a veteran's tombstone. And that's what has transpired here. People working together.